But I'd like to think this morning, someone gets him in the office this morning and just sell an idea to him, just fib to him a little bit and just tell him how important he is, tell him how great he's been, just lift his confidence, lift his spirits, dangle a little carrot saying, listen, make sure your attitude's good because you're still in contention for the Liverpool game. You'll be back in the team. Just give him that support, because if you don't, we've all seen young kids and it can be a brutal world at times. You wouldn't want to see him cast aside. So I'm looking now from the man management point of view, whether it's Amorim or someone from the coaching staff, just to make sure you have a little word in his ear and bring his spirits back up again.
Oh, I'm sure he'd love to have his spirits brought back up again. It's not going to work, is it? I mean, this is a player that's probably not good enough to play for Manchester United. You know, when you saw him play for Bologna, he was okay. When he was at Bayern, he didn't succeed there. And I never saw that he's got the attributes to be a top-class player. He's a good player. There's no doubt about that. But when something like that happens and the crowd bay for blood and they don't like you or they jeer you off, it's very, very difficult to come back. It doesn't matter what Amorim says to him this morning or any man management or any psychologist says to him this morning. This player is going to be destroyed, and his career at Manchester United is going to be destroyed. I can't see there is any way back. There's very few players. I think we saw it at Barcelona with one of the players at Barcelona who was being jeered off the field at one point but came back and did quite well. But most players, if the crowd don't like them, they never, ever fulfil their potential and never really get another chance.
It's massively divided opinion among the fan base, it seems, even on social media, Mark. We're seeing that many fans are saying he might not be good enough, but this wasn't the way to deal with it from Manchester United fans.
I think that's absolutely the way it is. I think from day one, Joshua Zirkzee hasn't looked like a Man United player. He's not quick enough. He doesn't move well enough. He doesn't show any goal threat. But, you know, it's not his fault he's a Man United player. He's not going to turn down the chance to sign for Man United if he's been offered the opportunity. So it's on the people who signed him and are putting him in the team. But there was a real change. Yes, there was that strange reaction when it was cheered when he was taken off. Then there was a little bit of booing. And as he was walking down the tunnel, there was applause. And I think the United fans, the majority of United fans were kind of almost apologetic, thinking this can't happen. So I do think he'll get another opportunity. I think, and when he does get an opportunity, I think the fans will be on his side. But like Robbo says, he's not good enough. And you can have all the pats on the back and arms around the shoulder. He's not good enough to be a Man United player. And it's only prolonging his suffering, really, by pretending that he is. And I think there has been some links with him going back to Italy in January, which it's unlikely it'd be an admission of defeat on United's part to let him go back to, Serie A 6 months after signing him. But that could be the only way out of this, because he isn't going to succeed at Man United. If they can cut the losses as quickly as they can, let him go to Juventus or Napoli, who have been interested, then they're going to have to do it, because Zirkzee doesn't look happy either. And I don't think there's going to be a way he can turn this around.
Why is he here, Mark, in the first place? Why is he at Manchester United?
Well, you could ask Dan Ashworth that question, but Dan Ashworth's no longer at Man United, is he? So Dan Ashworth led the recruitment in the summer, and this was a signing based on data. And, Dan Ashworth was head of the recruitment department. He was championing the data that was used to sign Zirkzee, and it's just not come off. Now, the idea was that he was a relatively inexpensive signing at £35 million, but if he's not good enough, it's an expensive signing, it's a waste of money. So the United are trying to sign the best up-and-coming talent in Europe, and they just got this one wrong, totally wrong. They signed the same kind of profile a year earlier when they signed Rasmus Højlund. He scored 2 goals this season in the Premier League. That's less than Zirkzee scored. £70 million they paid for him. And Højlund's the same. Højlund doesn't get the same criticism.
Sorry. But then again, that shows exactly how bad some of these, the directors of football, when they want to buy people on statistics. You and I have seen a lot of Serie A football. Was Højlund good enough to come for that sort of figure, to come to Manchester United and have an impact? No, he wasn't. We saw him week in, week out for Atalanta. Not quite good enough. A decent player, but not good enough. We saw Zirkzee play for Bologna. He had a good season, but he wasn't outstanding. You wouldn't say there's a player that can go on and really dominate defenders in the Premier League. He's not going to have the pace to run in behind. He's not going to hold the ball up and link up the play. He's a good player, but he's not a great player or a very good player. And that's what you need when you go to watch play. So what was Dan Ashworth doing, looking at these two players, particularly, Højlund already come there, but Zirkzee, what was he doing when he was going to watch him? Or didn't he watch him? Did he just go off stats? Because that is an absolute disgrace if he's just gone off stats.
In the brutal world of football, the Premier League doesn't wait for anyone. Zirkzee simply doesn't possess the attributes to thrive at Manchester United. When the basics don't align, even the best management can't bridge the gap. The analysis is clear. Zirkzee lacks the pace, movement and goal threat needed to succeed at the highest level. For any footballer, hearing jeers from your own fans is a crushing blow. The boos that echoed through the stadium when Zirkzee was subbed off reflected the frustrations of a divided fan base. The signing of Joshua Zirkzee has come under scrutiny, with many questioning Manchester United's recruitment strategy under Dan Ashworth. Was the move driven more by data than actual potential? At £35 million, the gamble feels costly, especially when Zirkzee struggles to match the expectations of a Premier League forward. Is it time for Manchester United to admit their mistake and move on? With interest from Italian clubs like Juventus and Napoli, a new chapter might be the best resolution for both player and club.